On this episode of What's Going On with Shipping, we've got container ships anchored off the West Coast. We've got container ships anchored off the East Coast. There are container ships anchored in Europe. There are container ships anchored off Asia. And there are container ships sailing across the world's oceans. It looks like we have a great wall of container ships surrounding the planet. On this, What's Going On with Shipping?
And that's the elites controlling everything, man. They're controlling everything because with this being said, they can orchestrate a famine that way. You know, like they was talking about this last year, back in May and June and July, that how a lot of these particular containers, they were just on ports and they couldn't even get access to them. You know, wasn't nobody there to unload it. Wasn't nobody there to house it. Trucks couldn't even get through to get the product. You know, so yeah, it was hurting the industry, and a lot of truckers, they quit. They said, we're not gonna do this. We're gonna go on strike. We're gonna just walk away from our jobs if they mandate that you know what. So I mean, it's just a big mess. Okay, Babylon is nothing but confusion, and it looked like it's getting ready to the Most High's getting ready to pull a plug on this place. So here we go.
I'm your host, Sal Mercogliano. I'm the chair of the History Department, Criminal Justice and Political Science at Campbell University, a former merchant mariner, and an adjunct instructor in maritime industry policy at the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy. On this episode of What's Going On with Shipping, we're going to look at an article written by Greg Miller over at American Shipper with FreightWaves. The article is entitled Container Ships Now Piling Up at Anchorages Off China's Ports. So we've been talking about this topic for quite a bit. We know about the huge, massive anchorage of vessels off the west coast of the United States. And we'll hop on over here to marine traffic and take a look at the logjam off the west coast. And it's substantial. It's substantial. We've got vessels right here in the harbor in LA Long Beach right here. You can see them all up against the dock there doing container operations, working. And then out here at the main end.
So all these green dots, I'm assuming, is these vessels, these containers, which should be getting shipped to these stores, etc., but they're not. Okay, this is the reason why a lot of places are going to end up closing down if they don't get this on the wraps. But like I said, this is due to a stage of famine. Okay, because once they can ration this food off to people, they can get people to comply to what they want them to do. And I believe that's another reason why they're controlling it. A lot of people say because the GDP is at an all-time low too, and that makes a lot of sense because if you print money with no value to it, eventually, you know, people are not going to buy that back. They're not going to continue to take on a debt, especially when they're talking about America could default on its loans by October the 18th, you know, having a whole government shutdown by the beginning of the month. So it's in this for a free fall. I could definitely tell you that. But anyway, let's go here to the book of 2 Ezra 6, and I'm going to start at verses 22. It says, and suddenly should the sown places appear unsown, and full of storehouses should be suddenly found empty. Now, the average store has 2 to 3 days supply of food, 3 days top. Okay, we've seen last year when this whole thing kicked off, we've seen how quick a store can go empty in a matter of hours, especially if you have people panic buying. Okay, and that's one thing when people are panic buying, like out there in the UK, they're talking about that they may possibly run out of petroleum or gas because people are panic buying. Okay, and you got 85 to 90% of the people panic buying in bulk like that. You could easily wipe a place out in a matter of days. Okay, and what happens from that point? You got riots, you got looting, you got crime, you got theft. These things will be at an all-time high. Okay, and that's what the elites want. They want people begging for their help. Like he said that, hey, you will own nothing and you will be happy about it. Okay, and this is part of it. And it says here, and the trumpet should give a sound, and that's the trumpet right now, the judgment, the impending doom. Okay, all hell breaking loose in America and around the world. Because if you look around the world, everything is up in frenzy right now, man. Okay, you got people out there in Greece, France. You got people out there in Austria or Australia, the UK. People down there in Brazil. Fucking, what's the name of that place? Venezuela. People are losing their damn minds due to the different protests and the mandates that's being established in people's lives that they have no use for. Okay, and this is just another thing to spark the powder keg of chaos. Okay, because this is what the elites want. They want order out of chaos, order of chaos. Okay, the new way, the new NWO. I say it that way. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, man, shit finna get real, and especially we're already in the fall season. But usually in this time, man, this is when they raise the debt ceiling. But let's say if they don't raise it, then what? You know? And then on top of that, Winter is coming up. So what happens when you have no food in the wintertime? No heat, no shelter, no nothing. People gonna fucking lose it, man. You know? And it says, and a trumpet should give a sound, which when every man hear it, they should suddenly be afraid. See, and people, they don't become activated until they become activated. Like they say, when people have nothing to lose, they lose it. Okay, right now, people, they're seeing shit, but Jake, they don't know what the hell is going on, man. They're not aware to what's happening. Man, you ask Jake about this, they don't know what the fuck is, they don't know what the hell is going on. They don't know what this is about. You got a guy by the name of Mario from Rethinking the Dollar. Now, he goes into these things. He goes into these trends and the different economic woes, etc. But most of his audience are Edomites, man, or small-time investors. Jake ain't worried about that shit. Jake just got hip to Bitcoin a year ago, and Bitcoin been out over 10 years now. Esau then came and made billions off that shit. Now you get caught with Bitcoin, man, they can lock your ass up. But Jake, are they aware of that? Fuck no, they're not. You see, this is why these niggas are gonna get caught off guard. Like now they're using the perfect division between NBA players and sports players in general to create a division for who's juiced and who's not juiced. Okay, who got the you know what and who ain't got it. You know what I'm saying? They put certain Jake on the podium and say, well, look, go up there and say this. So therefore, the face of this shit can be you Israelites, man. Because like I mentioned in my last video, when Esau goes up against the powers to be, because they're the main ones, they're the biggest opposition to what's happening in the world. It ain't Jake. Jake ain't opposing shit. Jake don't care about that. Jake don't care. Jake just want to go to job, go to work, smoke blunts, pop thoughts, drive Hellcats, wear nice clothes. That's all Jake want to do. Jake don't want to give a shit about salvation or what the world is coming to. It's these other Edomites that feel like they're being duped out of the bag that they thought were promised to them, man. But they got a news flash coming because the same government who they put their faith and trust in is doing away with them too. You know? Now they the new men on the bottom. Okay? So anyway, going back, it says, and they should suddenly be afraid. And at that time, it says, at that time, friends shall fight one against another like enemies. Why are they going to do that? Because the lack of food, the lack of bread, the lack of water, okay, the lack of goods, the lack of heat. If somebody sees something that you got that they want, they going to come and take it, man. Because this world has been taught, or the society, mainly the Western society, they've been taught to be individuals instead of a real community. Because in the nation of Israel, we're going to be a collective of a community, man. We even had what they called a welfare system, when the fortunate of our people will give to help the poor, okay, in a community effort. Now, true Esau got programs out there that'll help people, but those are on individual basis, man. They're not helping communities come together, because if they did, then, hey, they would be promoting more business opportunities for Jakes, but they're not doing it. So when all hell break loose, people are already going to be in that individual mindset. I want me, me, me. It's the ultimate form of narcissism. Oh, he ain't got it, just too damn bad. You see, and that's the reason why this place is falling. They're dividing because they can't come together. Okay, and the Lord ain't with it anyway. And it says, and at that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies, and the earth shall stand in fear of those that dwell therein, and the springs of the fountain shall stand still, and in 3 hours they should not run. Okay, so hey, that's happening. Pay attention. Look at these green dots here.
Anchorage. You see vessels piled up in there, just standing by, just waiting to get in their berths. And important to remember, certain vessels go to certain terminals, certain berths. So just because a berth opens up doesn't mean vessels can go right to them. They have to go to the berth with where they have an agreement in their terminal.
Right, they have contracts with them, so they go to their particular hub. You got certain freight haulers that take that report to that hub, and they start hauling across the country. Just go to that hub, that go to that hub. Just go here, you go there. And it's a business effort, but now shit is just stagnant. And ain't no telling how long this shit been on there, how bad it's gotten. You know, I mean, you may have refrigerated containers out there, but still, eventually shit goes bad, man. Because like I said, man, the last couple items I bought from the store with the latter expiration date was stale as hell. And that comes from that rotation, or that back stock. They call it dead stock. Dead stock is basically something that's not being touched, though it's brand new, but it's just sitting there until you open a package. Then it's not considered dead stock anymore. And I learned that by being in a shoe game, you know, knowing about dead stock shoes. that have something which is called dead stock. It could be a brand new pair of shoes that they get sold and just sitting in the back of the warehouse. Nobody's touched it. It's considered dead stock until you open it up, or if you try it on, it's not considered dead stock no more. All right, and that's the same thing that's going on with these shipping containers, man. So this man is, this man, hey man, it's finna be some shit. This finna be some real chaos. Let them stores go empty across the nation, man. You're gonna see the influx in crime rising up, and the fact that a lot of cops are quitting their jobs due to certain law or certain provisions that's being put upon them. So you ain't gonna have a choice but to put the military in, because now healthcare workers, etc., that's walking away, they fired over 600 healthcare workers because they didn't want to deal with the you know what. So therefore, now they got the National Guard that's coming in and taking over, which that's a very how can I say it? That's a crafty tactic to push the military in there to do your goddamn bidding. Ain't that some shit? Boy, this devil, man, he got his nerves, but hey, all hell finna break loose. So hey, just sit tight.
Some vessels also don't fit in certain berths. So there's a choreography here that's going on. We know that the Port of LA and the Port of Long Beach are experimenting with 24/7 gate operations, trying to get more trucks in and out of it. But, you know, LA...
Why are they 24/7 gate operation? Because that's a very busy hub. Okay, they're constantly hauling. Still, LA is California is a big state in itself. Okay, so they're on 24/7, 365 days a year. They're not shutting down. Why? Because it's a business effort. It's a business collective. That's a very, very important hub to get stores and so-called supplies. Get them supplied with the foods and necessities they need in order to run. Because if a grocery store can't sell food, guess what happens? It goes out of business. You see? Or Esau can easily monopolize it and put it under a big conglomerate, which that's what he's doing with Amazon. He did it with Amazon. He did it with Walmart and these big box stores. A lot of these Sears and, Payless and Kmart's, all these went they went under. Okay, they've been pretty much monopolized into a smaller company, a bigger company, Salakia, which is Amazon. Okay, because everything you get from Walmart or Kmart, Salakia, Kmart or Target or whatever you want to call them, you could just get the shit off Amazon right now. You see what I'm saying? So it's the same thing. Elites are liquidating and buying everything up because they have no use for Babylon the Great anymore.
Traffic is bad. It's hard to get in there. Had a lot of people talk about the fact that they want to improve the flow of trucks in and out, pave the roads, make things better so that trucks can come in and out. Stop giving them tickets, CHP, so that we can move this traffic. But anyway, these guys are off here in the inner anchorage. But if you go out here a little further past Catalina Island and everything, you'll see vessels here in between steaming out, and even further out. If we zoom out even further, we can see ships coming in right here. So for example, here's the YM Totality just sitting here at anchor way off Santa Barbara, ships coming in.
See, look at that. Look at all them containers. They're just sitting there, man. All their goods. And here you got Jake worried about some damn... Man, Jake is fucking destroyed, man. But anyway, I got one precept here. I'm not going to be too long on it. We're going to go to Revelation 18, man. And this whole chapter really breaks it all down. All right, so this is the book of Revelation 18 and 9. It says here, and the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her. Because remember, these vessels are coming from all over the world. They're coming from China, Taiwan. They're coming from all over, not just America. And this goes into it. It says, and live deliciously with her should bewail her and lament for her when they should see the smoke of her burning, standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for 1 hour is thy judgment come. This ultimately happens when the missiles are coming. But now that the nations are having ill business dealings with America, they're getting ready to shop elsewhere. Okay, because they understand that the dollar is not going to last too much longer. You can just see it. The dollar is on its way out for good. And it says, and the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buy their merchandise anymore. The merchandise of gold and silver and precious stones, of pearl, fine linen and purple and silk and scarlet and all thine wood and all manners of vessels of ivory and all manners of vessels of most precious wood and of brass and iron and marble and cinnamon and odors and ointments and frankincense and wine and oil and fine flour and wheat and beasts and sheep and horses and chariots, slaves and souls of men. Okay, who had slaves? America, who has the souls of men? Babylon the Great and the other nations. Why? Because hey, they followed the leader of which is America. Okay, Babylon the Great. It says, "And the fruits that thy soul losteth after are departed after thee, and all thy which good and dainty and goodly are departed from thee, and thou shalt find them no more all." Okay, the merchants of these things which were made rich by her shall stand afar off for the fear of our torment, weeping and wailing, and saying, Alas, alas, that great city that was clothed in fine linen and purple and scarlet and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls. For 1 hour so great riches is come to naught, and every shipmaster and those ships in the sea, and all the company and ships and sailors, and as many as trade by sea, stood afar off and cried when they saw the smoke of our burning, saying, What city is like unto this great city? Okay, and this is, hey, aren't those shipmasters? They navigate the seas, man. They get the product over here. If they not flying it in, they doing it by ship. Everything into this country through air flight or through ship. And then when it gets on dock, then, hey, it's driven through trucks and freight trains, man. Okay. So, anyway, look up merchant real quick, and I'm going to end it. Merchant goes into the Greek word emporos, which means one on a journey, whether by sea or by land, for trade. A merchant as opposed to a retailer or a petty tradesman. Okay, so that's what the man was really going into. All right. But anyway, with that, all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings and salutations to the whole elect. Noise in the gospel broad, lifting up the standard of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, wherever it may be. And with that, Shalom and Abba Babal.